When you think of a Bible example of questioning God, who do you think of? Job, right? I was thinking of Job chapter 1 and verse 8, where God's talking to the devil. It's kind of an odd thing if you think about it, but he's talking to the devil and asks what he's been doing in the previous verses, and the devil has been doing what he normally does, which is roaming around on the earth, which is his domain, by the way, and looking for who he could devour. God says to Satan, have you, in trying out all these people, have you considered my servant Job? J-O-B. He says there's nobody like him in all the earth. He's blameless and upright. He fears God and he turns away from evil. What if that had been my name? What if my name was Job? Would he have to, would the name of the book be different? How does God look at me? How does God view me? Would he have said that to Satan? If he redid that today and said, I'm going to let you have at somebody who exemplifies faith and what it means to follow me, would he say, have you considered my servant Zach? And it's another day at one of the greatest places to work. That's right, the jewelry store. They go fix, create, sell. It's a Saturday, so it's a 5-hour day, if you will. Not from this point, but 5 hours that we're open, so we call it short day Saturday. And we get lunch paid for, which is extremely nice. So let's go do this. When you think of a Bible example of questioning God, who do you think of? Job, right? What if your name was Job? Would God have said another name? What if you lived back then? Would the book be called by a different name? Which is kind of funny, right? If you think about it. Clayton's gonna kill me for all this noise. If I left it like that, you would think, well, I've really got to rise to this great height. But this guy was flawed. It just proves what the rest of the Bible talks about. So it's somebody who loves God, who follows God, who worships God and gives everything to God. And that's really what this is all about, that every bit of my life or your life is permeated by God. And that's going to be this greatness. And that's a great way to live. And God looked at Job and said, this is a great example of faith. I think the idea that I've been thinking about, and look at all that. I don't know, there's just something about being up here. Anyway, what I've been thinking about all day with the Job passage, what if my name was Job? Would God look at me as the example of faith? Would he say, would he tell the devil, that's who I want you to test? That's who I want you to look at? And then I started thinking, well, man, wow, like, is it a competition? And I know better than that. I mean, I understand that, and you probably know that too. It's not a competition. It doesn't matter. It's just about doing what the Lord wants and being who he wants me to be. So let me stop for a minute and pull off by an abandoned Hardee's. Yeah, it's kind of creepy, isn't it? No, but let me stop for a second and just say this and quit driving and trying to hold this phone. I know I'm gonna get in trouble. I didn't have my seatbelt on. I was just for a little bit, babe. I promise. Just for like less than a mile. I went out. I got out around the duck pond to see if there was a place to shoot. Anyway, my wife's not a nag, but she's gonna get me for not having it on. So hold on. All right, there it is. And she's right too, because I told her that I wasn't riding in that little tiny truck that I was in that Chris was letting me use. And what the reasoning was, it sounded so valid to me, but that was, and I started mansplaining it, as they say to her, didn't work whatsoever. I'm going to get out for just a second. Now back to this Job thing real quick. Let's bring this in, if you will. I figure if I can be great in God's eyes, that would be the level of greatness, right? And if God could look at me and say, yeah, you're the one that's the example of faith. If he could threaten Satan with me, with my faith, that's pretty good, right? The idea is that the simplicity is the beauty of it, right? I've got one person to make happy, one person to please. Man, that sun is probably right in the way. But anyway, I've got one person to make happy, and if I make him happy, and I please him, if I glorify him, and he's more than satisfied, then man, everything else is extra. But I'm automatically going to be a great husband and a great father and a great co-worker and employee and brother and all those other things I want to be, and meet all those goals that are worth meeting. So that's the point. When I read that and say, have you considered my servant? I wonder if I can stick my name in there and say Zach, and the story still makes sense. It's not about perfection, and it's not about competition with anybody else. Just about that one individual, the individual, saying, you know what, this guy is what faith is.